All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to our today's event. We're going to be talking about StarWind HyperConverged Appliance here. And just before we start, I would like you to tell me in the question box whether you hear me well and see the screen, the presentation picture well. Okay, looks like everybody sees that well. And just before we start, there is another thing I wanted to talk and say. So, yeah, like a few webinars and tap rooms ago, I decided to make them a bit faster in terms of information giving, and then a bit more, a bit larger in terms of questions and answers. So, I'll try to run through this, through all of this pretty quickly, and then I'll be waiting for your questions. So, yeah, this is the welcome I've just said, and this is how the picture of and the way our hyperconverged appliance looks like. This is me. I'm Boris. I'm a senior solutions engineer at StarWind Software, and yeah, I really like my job, and that's me. So, what are we going to talk about briefly? First of all, is our hyperconverged appliance. Then we're gonna look on it. Well, it obviously has StarWind, and then we'll look on the appliance without 5.9 and with 5.9. That's not going to be, like a demo where I'll show you the actual system. I'll just review it, and the last and, in my opinion, the most important part will be questions and answers. So, yeah, this hyperconverged appliance is for SMB or Robo for, quick deployment and stuff. This is also just an informational slide. I believe everybody knows about it, so I will go further to what we actually are looking at. And yeah, this is a quick diagram of our hyperconverged appliance, and it says what includes in it. There is a hypervisor, which can be Hyper-V or vSphere. Fortunately, we don't have it for Xen, and I don't believe we will have it. But if there are many people out there who wants to have it on Xen as well, I guess we can do that. Then there is obviously StarWind Virtual SAN, which provides your system with storage. Then there's Veeam, which provides you with backups, and 5.9 Manager, which is a management utility that makes your life and any management or configuration things much easier. This slide is very important since I'm a solutions engineer. I actually know how all that is working, and I know if you are, taking just the hardware you like, combining it, and eventually you get a mixed hardware solution. And it was not definitely tested because, even if you do the test, I would not call it, like a big solid test, because in our company we have a huge QA department that runs loads of tests, and not only on one platform, but on a couple of them simultaneously. And eventually you will get a fully tested appliance that you will be able to implement in your infrastructure and, run your business out of it. And besides the part where it is not tested and you cannot be 100% sure that this is something that will work, in case if it stops working for some reason, there comes the troubleshooting, which is also extremely different on a system which is made of some different parts. Therefore, you most definitely will have to connect with different vendors, and will have to ask them, questions like, is this part not working or that part? And then one vendor will say that that's the guy who doesn't work. Then the other guy will say that no, it's not us, it's them. And this is something which is very annoying, especially, where when you at the point where your production is down, you need to bring it back as soon as possible, but you cannot do that because you actually have nowhere to go and you're the only one who can fix it. Where HyperConverged Appliance is very good, it is fully tested. It is a failover cluster which has a great storage and has a centralized management, which is provided by 5.9 Manager. Also, in terms of storage, I mean, not, assigning a storage to VM, but I mean the underlying storage, the SAN part, is managed out of StarWind console, and you can install StarWind console on your home PC and then add in your StarWind servers there and check the status of them. So that's pretty useful as well. And yeah, I guess that's it for this slide. The next slide, it gives us an overview of the 5.9 Manager. On the right side, you can see a couple of screenshots of it. I'm just gonna, not go through all the points that are written down here. I'll tell you something from my personal experience and why do I find this 5.9 Manager very useful. And I like it because you can see whether your VM is just running out of one Hyper-V host or it is a part of the cluster. You can manage absolutely everything in it. You can configure failback if you want. You can configure load balancing. You can monitor the status of VMs. You can see all the info. You can see, how's your host feeling like, how are your VMs doing, and so on and so on. So it is a very useful management utility, which combined in itself failover cluster, Hyper-V, and then some other things that are not present in Microsoft tools that would be useful if they were there. So it is a cool management thing. Next is something that we are doing. It is our StarWind virtual SAN. And what you can see here is a StarWind host that has 2 devices and 2 targets configured in it. What's very good about StarWind is that our storage is completely fault tolerant, which means that if you have like one HA image, and this one HA image, by saying HA image, I mean it is highly available already, so it has 2 active copies of it on one side and then on the other one. And it is completely fault tolerant because both of them are simultaneously active, which means that if your cluster is working with one of them, he's like almost automatically works with the other one, which eventually provides you with awesome fault tolerance. So in case if one of those images fail for some reason, the other one stays there, and nothing needs to be done. It just continues working. So you don't need to, fail over something or do any actions. And then another interesting part, if the failure wasn't critical, if it wasn't like a drive failure or a network link failure, which means that you'd have to like change your NIC or change a drive in your RAID. If the failure was caused by something else, when the system comes back to normal, the StarWind Management Console will automatically initialize the synchronization process, which will make the image that failed, which will eventually make it synchronous, and then your system will be back to normal and will be ready to face any other failures if they, will happen. So, yeah. And then the other thing about StarWind, which is mentioned over here, is RAM and flash cache. And we are dividing them in 2 layers. RAM we call as a level 1 caching, and then flash we call as a level 2 caching. And a RAM we recommend using in write-back mode. And as we all might know, write-back mode boosts write performance and read performance. And then flash cache we recommend using in write-through. And write-through mode provides our read operations with boost. Yeah. Just before I go to the second slide, I had a quick question regarding this presentation, whether you'll be able to download it. And as far as I know, unfortunately, no, there is no way to download it. But this video will be uploaded to our website, and in case you will need to watch through it once again, you'll be able to do so. So let's go next. Veeam. Veeam is a very cool and very good software, and I really like Veeam. I like the way they do their software, and just in general, I like their deployment, the way they work. So their console doesn't really look, very good, and I don't really like the design, but it is extremely useful, and like all information that you can see in their console is useful, which makes it very good. Because some people use software and then they open the GUI. In the GUI, they are using 5 buttons, but actually there are 25 buttons, which makes that GUI not very useful, in my opinion. So Veeam in general provides you with a backup, with replication, and then with recovery. Also, the very important part of it, which I like the most, is that you can see all your backup jobs and everything in one place. You can manage all of them in one place, and that's very cool. So yeah, this is basically Veeam. If we go next, and this slide basically says that it's more than just the storage, and that's true because it is fully configured. It is shipped to you fully configured, fully tested. it is provisioned with storage. We can deploy a domain for you if you don't have one. And then by fully configured, I meant that we will create a cluster as well. So yeah, that's very cool. And I like this product we do, because simply you are getting two boxes which you just need to plug into, power, plug in the NICs between each other, and then turn it on and start running your production just at the same time as you turn it on. That's very cool. And the next slide, talks about the storage. And over here it says that all flash is brilliant and spindles with caching are good enough. That's true. Also on spindles, we have LSFS device, which is log structured file system. You might have heard of it if you are, interested in using StarWind. And right now, you can use LSFS on spindles. And the main thing about LSFS is that it increases write performance for a lot by taking many small random writes and combining them to a big sequential write, and that increases the write performance a lot. And then all flash just works, outstanding, because it is flash, and flash is always better than spindles. You can also, you see here that spindles with caching are good, but you can also do caching for all flash, which will make it even better. Because as we all know, random access memory is faster than flash. Therefore, using it for the flash storage will make a lot of sense. And your IO will grow even higher. So the next slide, and the one I like a lot as well, because I am working in support sometimes, and I would say a lot, and I like doing it. So the single point of contact for the entire appliance is something everybody will like, and I think likes, because as I told before, when you are getting like hardware combined, or even software and hardware combined solutions, you have to have up to 10 support departments that you have to contact to, and then they will all talk with each other and blame each other that something went wrong, not on our side but on someone's side, and that all makes the solution for you come not as fast as you need, or as should, like I think as should. So when we are talking about hyperconverged appliance, there is one engineer that you need to contact in case of any failure at all. Doesn't matter if it hardware, software, or you just need support, to answer some general questions, or even do, reconfiguration or something else. Just almost anything at all, because we support, every tiny bit of that hyperconverged appliance. And in case of the issue is related to Microsoft VM59, anything at all, we are going to be the guys that will contact the Microsoft or anybody else for you, figure out the issue, and then just provide you with a ready solution. And I think this is very important when we are talking about business, is that you're getting the solution in time. Next thing, which is the most important part of this, I think, is the questions and answers. And I would love to hear as many questions from you as you have. The pricing question is a good one, but as I mentioned before, unfortunately, I'm a more, technical guy and not the sale guy. Therefore, at the end of this presentation, I will provide you with all context where you can call or email or anything. And there are, special guys that will answer any of your pricing questions. I'm here more of a technical guy, so I would love to see as many technical questions as you have because I like answering technical questions. Otherwise, why would I work in support? Okay. That's a nice amount of questions I got here. So the first one is about VMware, and that's a good one. How do you install it on basically on the ESXi? And this is how we do it. As you may all notice, StarWind is a Windows native solution, so we cannot unfortunately install our software directly to uh, ESXi. So what we do is we have two ESXi hosts that are in cluster, and then on top of each of them, we fire up a virtual machine which has Windows OS on it. And then inside that virtual machine, we install our StarWind service, and then utilize the storage that the server has, and then mirror it, and then you get your highly available, I'm sorry, highly available data store. That's basically it. Uh, James asked me to talk about more about shared storage, the iSCSI one. Basically, I'm not sure what to talk about, but what I can say is that so you have a LUN, a logical unit number, that is, this logical unit number is shared through the iSCSI protocol, and it is shared to anybody who has the iSCSI connection to the host that has this logical unit number. That's basically it. And if you want me to talk about something more particular or precise, I would gladly hear another question from you. Andy, unfortunately, I don't exactly understand your question, so if you could rephrase it, I would love to answer it. Here's a good question from Robert. If we need to get a tech outside to fix the hardware, how does it work? Well, and IT right now, hardware when it breaks, it most usually is unfixable. Therefore, the way this works, and usually, the hardware failure is usually done like a drive falls out or a NIC. This is something simple. You just unplug it and then plug it in, and there will be just a new hard drive or new NIC shipped to you, and that is it. And I guess if you will need an engineer who will do the procedure of unplugging and unplugging a drive, we will be able to figure that out. Good question from Andre. So regarding VM, are there any limitations? Can we set up a domain controllers, SQL service, remote desktop service? Sure, you can. The only important part of it is to calculate the workload that will be generated by each of that VM that you are planning to set up. And then, when you know the workload, you have to get the storage that will be able to handle that workload, as well as the network connection that will be able to provide your storage with necessary bandwidth and throughput that you will need to run that amount of VMs. But just in general, the answer to your question would be yes. Well, Freeman, that's a good question. If you have a mix of VMware and Hyper-V, can you use the same appliance or set of appliances? Actually, you can use the same appliance or set of appliances. That depends on, the way you want it. So you can take a VMware HyperConverged appliance, you can install StarWind and then have a data store. Inside that data store, you can install, any amount of VMs that will do anything, and those VMs can also provide you with a Hyper-V cluster where you can set up any other VMs, and that infrastructure would be called nested virtualization. Or you can simply get one hyperconverged appliance that will work, with Hyper-V, and then the other one which will work with VMware, and that would be even easier to manage stuff. Another question from Andre regarding OS licenses. What license is supplied with servers? This is a good question. Yeah, it is usually Windows 2012 R2, and I don't know, but most of the customers that I've been talking to who got this hyperconverged appliance, they had their own license. So I'm not really sure what kind of license they particularly have, but I 100% know that we can get a license for you if you don't have your own, as well as domain controller. Most people are buying these appliances for a company that already exists, and if company already exists, usually they have their own domain controller as well. But if you want to start up a business, you don't have any licenses, any domain controllers or so, we can easily configure that for you. Oh, Andy, good question. If the appliance crashed itself, is there any solution for the backup for the appliance itself? Well, VM will back up your storage, and then you will, have your data somewhere, and you'll be able to use that data somewhere else. How does iSCSI LAN get created? James, iSCSI LAN, actually there is no iSCSI LAN. There's basically, so the way it works, there is a target and there is a device. And both of those are created by StarWind. So the target is sort of a portal to the place where you want that device to be transferred. So we're creating the device and then the target. And then any other host that has, Ethernet connection to the sandbox is able to start the Microsoft or VMware, doesn't matter, iSCSI service, and then it will be able to find our target by that Ethernet channel. And as soon as it finds that target, it finds the device as well. And then that device can be connected to the host that is looking for it, and then eventually the host will get iSCSI Andre, good question. Regarding the system, are both servers active all the time? Yes, they are 100% active all the time. James asked a question, is there a VM appliance that manages the iSCSI LUNs? It's not a VM appliance, it's just, StarWind software that manages iSCSI LUNs. It also creates them and shares them. So basically, there is such appliance, but not VM, I guess. The support level that is supplied with solution, you can find all the information regarding our support on our website, which is www.starwind.com, and we have their support program that you can read through. But if speaking quickly, there are actually two support packages that you can get. First one is a standard one, that in case of a critical issue, we will provide you with support in 4 hours. And then there is a premium one, and of course that the standard one works within the business hours only. And then the premium one, we will provide you with support in 1 hour, anytime and any day. It is, 24/7. So anytime you'll email us, we will respond to you in 1 hour, and we'll do our best to figure out what's happening on your side. In case of the hardware failure, the SLA is discussable because that depends on your location. We have different hardware vendors, the vendor is one, but the distributors are different all over the world, and we have to understand from which place to what place we have to ship you a new part. The good question is, would that work in China? I would actually double check that information with our sales guy, but as far as I know, I'm not a sale, unfortunately, but what I heard in our office is that we're working worldwide, which would mean that it will work in China. Consider the appliance as well. Is there any method to protect the appliance? Is the backup for whole Microsoft environment is the way to backup it? Andy, oh, you said that you got it. Okay. Regarding StarWind HCA large regular, how its rate configured, since appears system have half usable capacity compared with storage raw capacity, it's rate 10. Yes, for spindle drives, we usually recommend going rate 10. And then if you get all flash, we are configuring rate 5 because, you get more space because SSDs are expensive. And then since they are fast, the performance loss is not so huge. But all the configuration gets double checked by a support representative before it is made and shipped. Therefore, if you will, plan or purchase HyperConverged Appliance, there will be a support representative which will contact you and ask about each tiny part of the configuration, going even through all the IP addresses. and ask you like, what would you like to have configured there? And after, the conversation will be finished, the support representative will get all the information regarding the configuration that you want to see on your appliance. All that information will be passed to our department that does that configuration. Usually it is made by our support representative as well. So, and that configuration will be made, and then the hyperconverged platform will be shipped to you. Okay, it looks like nobody else has any questions. And what I wanted to say, and I just wanted to thank you and say that I very much appreciate that you are coming to my meetings and webinars. How many installs in the world we have so far? I believe it's around 50. But this hyperconverged appliance we have was out there for a month or so, or maybe 2 months. So there is definitely, uh, where we could grow, and we're trying to do so. Oh, how much StarWinds were installed over the world? I'm not really sure, but thousands, really. So I wish you guys a great day. It is Friday tomorrow. I wish you a great Friday, and I wish you a great weekend after that Friday. Thank you very much for coming to my events. I really appreciate that. And I hope to see you guys on my next event. Have a good one. Bye bye.